Hey everybody, another KMU podcast coming at you. I'm Ricky Tabruggy. Derek's joining me from down there in Elkhart, Kansas. How's things going down there in Elkhart?
Pretty good. Hey, producer Stephanie, can you get this camera right here in front of in the middle of the TVs and kind of put me center of the screen while I
Yeah,
talk
you're
to
kind
you
of
here?
way off to the
Yeah,
side
I
there.
just did in the free zone with Norm, and I'm a little wonky. Yeah, that one there, just kind of turn there. Perfect, perfect.
There
That'll
we go.
work perfect.
There we go.
So Ricky, how you been, man? We're
Yeah.
doing shows on Wednesday nights for some reason now, man.
Well, next week I'm off on Monday, so we might have to change that up.
Do a Monday night show. Well, honestly, man, we'll
uh,
do a show any night that your schedule allows it, man. Like this is
yeah, they're messing with me again. I don't know.
what we're doing.
Yeah, I was telling you right before the show. Been a long day. I had to go get my laundry out of the way at the laundromat early. My younger daughter, my 17-year-old, she's got her learner's permit, so I was letting her get some driving time in and doing real good there. Except we almost ended up in somebody's front yard because the street she was looking for to turn on, she about missed, so she tried to hurry up and turn before she slowed down, and we almost wound up in her front yard.
Yeah, that's not
But
good.
other than
Well,
that, she's doing fine.
real quick, let me send this to my YouTube as well.
Okay.
We are going live on my personal Facebook page, Derek Evan Relaford. You can see the blue check mark to make sure
Yep.
it's me.
Yep.
And then we're on Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page, also Ricky's YouTube page. We're on the Back Home Media page. Back Home Media is my media company, which powers this show. This show is, we're also on obviously Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page. Ricky Tabruggy here is my friend. We've been doing some content together for probably 4 years off and on.
Yeah.
Ricky, really quickly, because I am going to go into I was able to be at the hearing today for this sad ordeal, and Ricky's asked me to sort of go over what I saw today. But before we do that, Ricky, for all the people watching from my outlets, give everybody a real quick rundown of how you got into missing and unsolved crimes.
It basically got started right after I got on Facebook. I was one of those reluctant holdouts. I was a MySpace guy. And when I finally jumped onto Facebook, I just kind of started seeing missing persons flyers on my newsfeed. I would share them. The more I shared, the more got shared to me. I was eventually asked to help a couple groups with doing flyers and stuff, which I, at that point, didn't have any idea how to do. So one of the gals, the first gal, she said, "Well, I'll teach you," and she taught me, and I just took the ball and ran with it and helped her. And then I got asked by the second group to help, so I helped them. And then eventually I branched off and started doing Kansas Missing and Unsolved, and I've been doing it almost 12 years. So
12 years, guys. And I want to say this, and this is not to, I just want to say this because as a tech guy, as a guy who owns a company that deals with audio, video production, Photoshop, all that stuff, Ricky makes these. We're not going to read this flyer. We will tonight. But if you look at these flyers here, Ricky makes these flyers on Microsoft Paint. Now, I tell this to my art friends and they laugh they're like, why? I'm like, well, here's the thing. Ricky's not like a big tech guy. He saw a need. He saw a need that in the state of Kansas, we were having trouble getting missing person flyers done, well and put out there. And Ricky took it upon himself and he uses an archaic program like Microsoft Paint. And he's putting out 15, sometimes 20, 30 flyers a week for the state of Kansas. He does it for free, folks. And I just want that to be a testament to anybody out there. Ricky has a full-time job. He has 2 kids. He's a very busy guy, but he still finds time to do this stuff. Whatever tools you have in front of you, do something. Do something. Ricky, let's go ahead and get into this right here. Obviously, sad news from right here in my part of the world. I can go into what happened at the hearing today, but why don't you sort of fill in anybody who's watching that doesn't know what's going on? Fill everybody in with what you know.
Okay. Well, first off, Trisha's saying, please remind everyone to share the show out so they can reach more people. So, yeah, definitely please share the show out. Yeah, because we want to get it to as many people as we can. These 2 gals, Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly, they went missing from Hugoton. They were on their way down to pick up Veronica's kids for a birthday party. They never made it. It was considered suspicious from the get-go, and they said due to evidence that was found at the vehicle when they found the vehicle abandoned on the side of the road. And then eventually came out that they had found some blood spatter in the vehicle, pools of blood on the ground outside the vehicle. It was a sad deal. They did finally eventually find Veronica and Jillian's bodies. There are 4 people in custody. The kids' father's mother, her boyfriend, and two others. The kid's dad's not charged with anything. He was in rehab at the time, so he's not involved as far as we know. I did see something about they're looking for possibly a fifth person that's supposedly on the run. I guess I can't find anything to confirm that, but somebody said that. So I don't know if that's fact or not, but I thought that was interesting.
It was definitely, I've heard that too, and it's been very vague. That came out in the affidavit. If you go to my YouTube page, and I can actually, if you want, Ricky, I can send you the hard video of that. Norm from In the Free Zone with Norm did.
Okay.
Back Home Media purchased the full affidavit, and Norm read the entire thing on our YouTube channel because
Wow.
I feel like it's important for reporters and people like me. I'm fortunate enough that I can go in there and purchase something like that, but not your everyday person can go in there and just get something like an affidavit. So I thought it was important to not go buy it and then release piece by piece for like to try to make it make sense social media. I was like, let's just read it and let anybody, and Norm's the perfect person to read something like that. He was very middle ground. But from what I gathered, I got Back Home Media is a media company. I was able to get into the courthouse with the other big dogs. I am just we're like a 5-person company here, but I was sitting next to all of the big cameras and everything. The big people chasing the story, and there's no phones allowed. There's no recording devices allowed. And all the reporters they had pens and paper and they were just writing. And I noticed that they were all looking down. So I decided, okay, like they're going to tell, they're trained, they have degrees, they're going to be able to write down all the details. They can tell you everything, that they can tell the world what they need to know. I want to study body language because that's something I can do here, to paint the scene for you. It's a packed courtroom. I would say the back left side of the court is definitely filled with family members of some kind. A lot of sobbing. The first person they brought out was Cole. Did not have that smirk he has on in this face. The guy looked terrified, standing before the judge. Basically, they didn't have attorneys or anything. So basically, all that happened today was the state of Oklahoma read them the charges that are being brought against them, and sort of explained to them the process of what's going to happen next. They told Cole. There was 4 attorneys for the state of Oklahoma there. They told Cole, they read him his charges, but as they're reading the charges, and they did use legal jargon, but I'm just going to kind of break it down to English here. They basically told him, like, look, you used a weapon to take somebody hostage. Essentially, you moved them outside of their car in another car to take them to their death. And you are not you are not an officer. You are not authorized to take anybody in prison. And when they read the charges, all of them had this really, really, really sad look on their face. Now, I don't think it was sad because they're sad they did something wrong. I think it's one of those they're sad they got caught things.
Yep.
But one thing is, this is Oklahoma, and the judge let all 4 of them know that they are innocent until proven guilty. But that he also told them that Oklahoma has a lot of ammunition against them right now, and basically was letting them know that this is a death penalty. Well, I'm not in Oklahoma right now. I'm a mile away, but that Oklahoma is a death penalty state,
Mm-hmm.
and that they need to be prepared to be up against that potentially. Cole just looked very upset, who's on the screen. Tad looked very almost like pissed off, like he didn't want to be there, like they were wasting his time. When Tad came out to be arraigned, that was the only physical outburst that happened throughout the whole hour-long hearing. Somebody from the family section yelled out some, not really yelled out, but said some expletives towards Tad, and Tad didn't really react to it whatsoever. Kind of just the same demeanor. To me, the weird thing, Ricky, was like it was almost like they didn't really care that what was going to happen to him. They looked very worried that they were in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like they didn't look like I don't know. Tiffany came out last. She seemed to get the most hate. When they got out of the police cars to be taken upstairs to where I was, I had Back Home Media. I had a camera woman outside, and if you listen to the audio on the Elkhart the movie page, whenever any of them get out of the car, you're hearing some comments from the public, like, oh, they're in bulletproof vests, they don't deserve those. But when Tiffany got out of the car, you definitely heard the worst stuff. I'll let people go listen to those videos on their own accord, but obviously there was a large crowd outside of the courthouse, while I was there, and a lot of people in the crowd seemed to be very displeased when Tiffany showed her face. Cora was the last one to be arraigned, and the only thing they all read the exact same, I swear, Ricky, but the only thing that was different about Cora's is it kind of plays into the one thing I want to talk about. She basically put some, and again, go check out the main news outlets. I was studying body language, but she did put forth a motion. In layman's terms, from what I could gather, it was essentially saying that she doesn't have any money, she doesn't have any property, so therefore she wanted like some type of leniency, considering she doesn't have. With that being said, she essentially doesn't have a way to defend herself. So when the judge brought that up to all of them, he asked all of them if they could afford an attorney. Tad, when that was asked if he could afford an attorney, he said yes, that's not going to be a problem at all. When Tiffany was asked, can you afford an attorney, she said yes, that's not going to be a problem at all. When Cole was asked if he could afford an attorney, he reluctantly said, my family's trying to put something together, but I don't know anything. And then obviously, to bring you back to where I kind of started this portion of the conversation, Cora was letting the courts know that she has no money, she has no belongings, and therefore will require an attorney from the state. Now, the judge did not let anybody leave the courtroom without talking to a representative from Texas County there. Basically, they were all given like a quick, very, very quick, very, as much of a privacy as whispering into somebody's ear can get you. They were given a quick counsel with a representative from the public defender's office and a card. And from my understanding, it is now up to all 4 defendants to go to the detention center once they leave the police station in the hearing, and to contact these offices and get themselves lawyered up. But from what it sounds like, from what I was in there, it sounds like Tad and Tiffany are probably going to, I don't know if they're going to lawyer up again. I don't know what's going on, but to me, it seemed like 4 people who couldn't be more beyond apathetic about what's going on. So I don't even know what's going on, but hey, those 2 could probably lawyer up. The other 2 are more than likely, Cole here and then Cora, more than likely will have to be represented by public defenders at the cost of the state of Oklahoma. They were also told that in Oklahoma, obviously bond, be getting out on bond is a right and everything. But in any kind of capital case, there are going to be some prerequisites and some tape. So the all 4 defendants found out today that they're definitely hitting some red tape because of all of them having capital accounts against them. The judge has ordered no bond, no bail. All 4 defendants will remain incarcerated. And all I can really update from there is pretty much everybody watching this probably know this, but the 15th of next month, there will be there will be beginning the next proceeding with this, where they will all appear in front of a judge again. Yeah, big stuff, man. But again, I walk out and there's a mob of people there, man, and it's love. They're all there for love. They're all there because we want. But when I went and did my live stream, as soon as I left, I went and reported back to my audience, hey, this is what I saw, this is what I heard. And I was feeling real good about myself, Ricky, after we ended the live stream, and I was sitting there talking to a girl named Jessica who helps Back Home Media out. And then I heard somebody. You ever hear somebody cry, but it's not like they got like hurt, like it's an emotional deep pain. It's like a sound. Yeah. I heard a horrible sound, and I looked over, and there was a woman who was trying to get her footing while she was talking gibberish into a phone to a loved one. And while she was literally falling to the ground, I'm assuming she loves somebody associated with what just happened in that room. Wow. So it's important for the public to remember that, yeah, we want to know what happened. Yeah, we want justice. But, these moms are never coming home, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
now, from the looks of it, these 4 people might not ever come home. So it is just a
No.
gigantic wrecking ball of evil. So it's important to remember to take a step back and realize that, you know, we are spectators at the end of the day. There
Yeah.
are people that are really involved in this. But Ricky, do you want to add anything to that before we move on to the cases? That's what I learned today going to the arraignment.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to affect. Yeah. Obviously, it's going to affect the two mothers' families, and it's going to affect those kids in the long run. It's also going to affect the 4 that are involved families as well, because they got to live with the stigma of my loved one did this.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, that's going to hurt those families too. And you know, as far as the no bail thing, I mean, it's probably better for their own safety that they don't bond out, because there may be people that may just decide they want to go after them. I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
I don't want to sound dramatic. We're talking all four defendants, bulletproof vests.
oh, I'm sure.
Back Home Media posted some video on Facebook. Jessica from Back Home Media was filming the defendants getting out of the cop cars and walking into the building, and multiple times she was able to zoom up. It's like a 3-story building there in Texas County. She was able to zoom up, and there were people up there that I would assume would have some type of sniper technology with them. Sure. They weren't wielding guns at the public or anything, but there were several people who looked like they might know how to aim a firearm on top of the courthouse, you know. So this is a big deal in the heartland, but you know, like I said,
very tragic situation, man. Really.
2 weeks those girls have been found, and we have people in jail. So I do want, and you know what, Ricky, it's not Kansas Missing and Unsolved, it's not Elkhart the movie, it's not Back Home Media, it's not Rock Chalk the YouTuber, it's not what got moving on this, and you'll never convince me otherwise, is that human beings now have access to phones, and they have access to have open communication with each other through apps like Facebook. I want to put a message out there to anybody who's thinking of doing harm to others. Good luck. There's too many of us, and we don't want that crap in our neighborhood.
Right.
Go ahead and get into tonight's cases, man.
Okay, I'm gonna hit a couple comments real quick here.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
just real fast. Kelly up, I was saying Ricky's Microsoft Paint flyers look a lot better than Photoshop flyers, in my opinion.
But the only reason I brought up Microsoft Paint, because an artist, a computer artist, would want to shake your hand and be like, "Wow, that's dedication." And you're using a program from 1986 to do these flyers, and you're right; they're all over the place.
And Debbie Carroll, she said, I hope I said that right, says, I so appreciate what Ricky does. He's helped with many of our foster children and is needed as blessing for many. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm looking there. And here's one here. Jessica Harris says, hello, Papa Rick. That's my daughter-in-law.
Oh, nice.
And they just recently moved back to Kansas from Oregon.
Nice.
And Trisha's like, I always love Microsoft Paint. That's what I was taught to make flyers on. It's just easy for me. My new computer that I'm using now, it's got a touchscreen function where, you know, I can do touchscreen. I have to use it a little bit because they've changed up paint just a little bit.
I'm surprised there's anybody working at the paint department. Well, hey, man, let's get into these flyers, man. We got quite a few to get to. Looks like we're in Topeka tonight starting out.
Alrighty, Juan Baronis Jr., missing from Topeka, Kansas since March 28th, 2024. He is 16. He is 5'6", 130 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Juan's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call Topeka, Kansas Police Department, 785-368-9200, or the KBI at 785-296-4017, and see if we can't get Juan located and back where he needs to be.
16, huh?
Yeah.
Juan, you're almost done. You're almost 18. Do your own thing. Do whatever you want. Drink as much drink as much Mountain Dew as you want. Nobody's gonna stop you. But finish school.
Yeah.
Get your basic. Norm from In the Free Zone with Norm. He told me that he's like, the reason it's important to at least finish high school is because a lot of people don't realize that just that little high school diploma. I know several people right now in their mid-30s that are taking classes to get their diploma. because they can it's going to get them a little further down the road, like, with their
Right.
job and everything, like they
Right.
can do more with that diploma. So anytime I see anybody on this show that's, that potentially should still be in school, I just like to say, hey, just finish it. Just
Yeah.
finish it. Even
Yeah.
if you hate it, even if it's boring, just finish it. Get that silly piece of paper, put it somewhere safe, and it might give you some more bucks. It might put some more bucks on your paycheck one of these days.
Right. Yeah, this
All
is
right.
Isaac Schaefer. He is. Oh, we put Isabel McConnell. Okay, this is one she's been missing for quite some time. I wanted to get her back on, and I just added the far left-hand picture where the phone's kind of in the way there. I got it sent the other day, and so this is recent, and asked to please add it, so I did. But she's missing from Spring Hill, Kansas, since August 2nd of 2023, so for quite some time. She's 16. She's from 4'8" to 5'3". Weighs between 100 to 112 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. It's believed that she may no longer be in Kansas. I don't have the information as to where they think she might be. They just don't think she's in Kansas anymore. Again, she's 16, 4'8" to 5'3", weighs between 100 and 112 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Isabel's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Spring Hill, Kansas Police Department at 913-782-0720 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can't get Isabel located and get her back to where she needs to be. So, yeah, she's been missing for quite a while.
Whoops. Sorry.
About 8 months. A little over 8 months. So let's see if we can't get her found. Wish to have more information as where they think she may be, but I wasn't given that. So,
yeah. That was a long time, man.
Yeah. But like I said, the one with the cell phone kind of in the face, that one's one of the most recent photos, and it was just sent to me recently. So,
a guy sent me apparently back in like the 80s, Blockbuster used to have a program called Kid Print, where like you could take your kid in and they would interview your kid on videotape and like do a bunch of zooms and basically like get good footage of a kid in case, kind of like you make it a fun thing to have kids come visit a police station and you tell all the kids we're going to show you how fingerprinting works. Like,
right.
I don't know if that's 100%, but if they're not, they should store those fingerprints in case you ever need to find that kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's information. I'm sure you can find a lot of people that don't want it, but I'm just saying, like, it should. That's like that. You could tell, like, even back then in the 80s, it was a problem getting pictures of kids like that. It's like, hey, do you okay? Like, I haven't seen my kids. Like, okay, do you have any pictures of them? Well, here's one from 7 years ago. I'm really trying to be there for you, but like we're gonna need like a more recent picture, if we're gonna get the word out. You know what I mean?
And here's a comment I wanted to address real quick. Tasha Castillo says we need to find Monica now. Monica Williams, missing from Wichita, Kansas since December 31st. She's presumed dead. Nobody talks about her case. I do have a flyer up on the page for her, and I can sure get it over to Derek, and we can cover it.
Throw it over.
Because I just looked it up, make sure I did have it, and I do. So let me get that over to him real quick, and we can cover it here after a bit. Let's see. There it is. Right there. It's in your inbox or your messenger box.
All right.
Yeah, I got somebody down here asking do you agree that there was no foul play in the death of Cole Brings Plenty? Honestly, I don't know. I'm waiting to hear what the autopsy is going to show and what it's going to say.
That guy right there is he's from a town called Anadark, Oklahoma. Back home, he has a show there called the Dodge Cast. It's a great show. Right. The majority of a large portion of that part of the country is indigenous. So when you sent me that flyer, the first person I sent it to the Dodge Cast team immediately, and I guess he was like on television and everything. But so if what again, 100% speculation, me and Ricky have no idea, we were not there, but when you see people talking online about there being foul play, what do you so I don't know the whole story. Was he actually like accused of anything? I had heard that Like my question is, who would want to hurt him? It's 100% speculation. Do you
Right.
know of anybody who would benefit from hurting him? Like where
I
somebody
haven't
him or,
heard any information as to whether anybody wanted to hurt him or not. I mean, he was, of course, supposedly involved in that domestic dispute and before he fled, they said, but I don't know if anybody would hurt him unless it was somebody that might have been associated with a person that he had the domestic issue with, but I don't know. I haven't heard any more on that.
right?
I do know his uncle Mo. They've got a GoFundMe set up to help with funeral costs. I do know that.
Whole thing is tragic, man. It's not good.
And
Young guy.
Karen Hochschild is saying would like to see Jessica. I don't know if it's pronounced Lay, I guess, and push on April Wisp, both out of Wichita. There's someone out there that knows something in regards to either case. I agree with that. I do. Yeah, we can get them covered too. We can get them on next week's show. Here is Monica Williams right here. And she's, of course, missing out of Wichita, Kansas. Excuse me. Since December 31st of 2023, she's 29, 5'1", weighs between 155 and 190 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. She was last reported to have been seen in the 9500 block of South Hydraulic in Wichita. The sheriff's office is wanting to check on her welfare. And she was 29, 5'1", weighs between 155 and 190 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes, and she has a mole on the right side of her face, which you can see in those photos there. She was last seen wearing a gray and white pajama pants and a red shirt. If you have any information regarding Monica's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call 911 immediately or call the Sedgwick County, Kansas Sheriff's Investigation Division at 316-660-5300 or Crime Stoppers at 316-267-2111 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Monica found and back to where she needs to be. But you're definitely right. I haven't heard much on her case recently at all. So, yeah, I'll get her flyer reshared too. I'll look and see if I need to maybe update the age now or something. But, yeah, I'll get it reshared. As well as Jessica Lay and April Wiss. I'll get them reshared as well, and we can cover them on next week's show.
We're gonna have a big show next week, man. That's what happens when you take a year off.
I'm telling you.
Everybody's saying, "Hey, you got to do this. We got to do it." Though. I mean, this is really important, though. Like, I'm glad that we're getting some of these flyers recirculated. Always good to see that happen. Let's go ahead and go into this flyer here, and then I'm going to.
This was the one. Her dad reached out to us while we were doing the show last week, and I got the flyer made for her and everything. It's pretty interesting case. I kind of summarized it, and if you go to her flyer on the page, in the caption, it goes into a lot more detail. But this is Gina Dawn Brooks, missing from Fredericktown, Missouri, since August 5th of 1989. She was 13 when she went missing. She would now be 48. She was 5 foot tall, 108 pounds, blonde hair, green eyes. She was last seen in her hometown of Fredericktown, Missouri on August 5th of 1989. She came home at 10 p.m. after seeing her brother's baseball game. Short time later, Gina said she was going for a ride on her 10-speed girl's bicycle. She never returned. Her disappearance was reported at 2 a.m. Gina was seen standing near her church when a battered light gray, green, or blue station wagon with Missouri license plates pulled up, and the driver spoke to her. She got back on her bike and turned south on Mine Lamont. Later, some witnesses, including Gina's boyfriend, heard someone screaming for help. A vehicle was seen turning left on Franklin and driving towards Highway 67. Gina's bicycle was found abandoned on a residential lawn on High Street, 5 blocks from her home. Later in the evening, there was no sign of her, and she's not been seen again. 3 men were implicated in Gina's disappearance. In 1998, Nathan D. Danny Williams, who was charged with Gina's murder in 1999. Bryant Squires, the driver of the station wagon, who has since died of cancer and AIDS-related complications. And Timothy R. Ballou. The murder charge against Ballou was dropped for lack of evidence in 1999, and he was charged instead with lying to investigators about where Gina's body was buried. The murder charge against Williams was also dropped. He remains in prison serving a life sentence for forcible rape and forcible sodomy. Authorities still believe the men were involved in Gina's presumed murder, but stated there is not enough evidence to convict them at trial. Williams had also been charged in the 1975 murder of a young woman. That charge was also dropped for lack of evidence in 1998. 10 days before the trial was set to begin, he also Also, a suspect in the 1979 disappearance of 12-year-old Tammy Sertum. Gina has never been located. Gina was last seen wearing blue striped top, white shorts, and sneakers. She has several white fleck-type scars on the shin of her left knee. If you have any information regarding Gina's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Madison County, Missouri Sheriff's Office at 573-783-2234 or the FBI at 573-335-0138 and see if we can help get Gina located and back to her family. As I was mentioning, her dad did reach out in the comments during the show last week and asked if I could get something going, and I did. So hopefully it will help get some answers. I really do.
Yeah. Very long time ago, man.
Yeah.
You should send me what's her name? Catherine Adams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't covered that in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. We have not.
1, 2, 3. There we go. I'm giving myself a little bit more volume there because I can't hear myself and I can hear you really well. While you're looking for Catherine Adam, let me leave that up there. I will check and see if we got any comments here. Trisha that says somebody knows something. Amelia says, did you do Monica Williams, my sister, yet?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Anthony from Anadarko, Oklahoma says he saw a couple of them went missing on New Year's Eve. Wow.
Okay.
Amelia says, my sister Monica has been missing since December 31st. We need to find her.
Yeah. Hopefully, like we just covered her just a few minutes ago. I think before Gina's, as a matter of fact. And hopefully it will help get her found. And then, I'll get her flyer shared again. I want to make sure, see if she, if I need to update age now or anything like that. And then I'll get it reshared.
Yeah.
I like to keep them as accurate and as up to date as I can.
Anything we can do to help.
Catherine's.
Okay, awesome. Go ahead and read this flyer, and I'll go ahead and get that one uploaded into the studio.
Okay, this one's actually an unsolved homicide from here in Salina, Kansas. Nellie Mae Hubbard. She was an older lady that actually lived a few blocks away from where I was living when I was growing up. It was like a block up and 2 blocks over from me. It was back in March 14th, 1981. Still unsolved after all these years. It happened on March 14th, 1981. Nellie was found deceased in her residence at 1008 East Elm on a cot that she slept on in her living room. She was covered with a sheet, and the scarf she usually wore was found on the floor. Hubbard did put up a struggle during her attack, and ultimately Nellie died of asphyxiation. She also suffered 8 broken ribs. One was broken in 2 places. She also had a broken bone in her throat. She also had an injury to the back of her skull. She also had bruises on her arms, and there was evidence of other internal injuries. Upon searching Nellie's home, investigators found $93,000 in cash and over $100,000 in certificates of deposits or CDs, and a large quantity of silver coins dating back to 1886. Investigators also discovered that Hubbard's home was filled with miscellaneous household items, trash, and other clutter that made 2 bedrooms completely unusable. Nellie Mae does deserve to rest in peace. The only physical evidence that they have found that they could link to the killer was the cigarette lighter that you see there at the top of the flyer that says "Vote" with the American flag look and field behind it. That is the actual lighter that was found at the crime scene. I tried to find a picture of one like it, but I got a hold of one of the detectives down at the police department, and he sent me photos of the actual lighter. And if you look at the picture on the left where it's closed, you can still see fingerprint dust going along the top of the lighter there. Let's see if we can't bring her killer to justice, though. And if you have any information regarding Nellie's murder, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210, or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477. Or text SA TIPS to CRIMES, which is 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way. or you can call KBI at 1-800-572-7463 and see if we can't get some justice for Nellie and her family.
So that's Salina, right?
Yeah.
Walk me through. What do you remember about back then? That when that happened?
I really don't remember much about it back then, as opposed to when I got
You
older
know,
and heard about it
Salina's
and
big.
started
Like you,
researching.
it wasn't like big news that somebody
It
was.
was, but when it happened, it was 1981. I was barely in middle school. So, I mean, and unfortunately, I couldn't find any better pictures of Nellie than what I have up there. Those came from a microfilm off the Salina Journal, off the public library website. And I've been searching high and low for a better photo and have not been able to find one yet. So, I mean, the ones that I have are one of her from 1920s, from when she graduated nursing school. And then the other one on the right is one from 1979 from a birthday photo at age 77. So that would have been 3 years before she was killed. So,
Wow.
or 2 years, excuse me, 2 years. My math's a little off there.
Well, hopefully, there's some movement on that case.
Hopefully.
This is the one I had you just send me. The reason I want you to bring, I think about the top left photo. I think about that photo lives in my head rent free. I think about it 3 times a year because to me, like in a dark way, like it's security cam footage. She's backing out of a gas station.
Right.
The way she's backing out, and I've analyzed this to you before, but the way she's backing out rather than just walking straight out makes me think that she at least is like somewhat friendly with somebody in there, maybe like the cashier. And this, I'm not trying to solve a case here. I'm not saying anything about what might have happened to her. Just based on her backing out of that gas station, I just feel like maybe she was like happy there, like oh, this is a safe place for me. And because what the world needs to realize is like that as she backed out of that, this is the last footage of her. She was not alive very much longer after that that live video was taken. So I often think about that picture, and it reminds me to always live in the moment and always be appreciative, of, because you never know. Like right there, I don't think she has any idea that she's about to, be either heaven or whatever people believe, but she's about to not be with us humans anymore. She's gone.
Right. Yeah, that's Catherine Adams. She's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since April 29th, 1993. She was 35 when she was missing. She should now be 66. She's 5'4", weighs 120 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She was last seen at 4:30 in the morning on April 29th, 1993 at the Quick Shop convenience store in the 1700 block of West Crawford Street here in town, Salina. She drove a white full-size Ford van with "She Has Legs" written on the sides in white and blue lettering. That's a picture of her van right there. Her van turned up abandoned at 5:45 p.m. the day after she went missing at Russell's Restaurant in the 600 block of West Point Boulevard. The restaurant was closed for remodeling at the time. The van was spattered with mud on the outside of the van and blood soaked on the inside. There was a large amount of blood on the ground at the storage unit where she was loading up her legs pantyhose for her daily deliveries. There was no sign of her at either place, and she's never been heard from again. Police speculate someone attacked her when she went inside the storage unit. It appeared they interrupted her in the process of loading the merchandise in her van, leaving the door of the unit open. Catherine was separated from her husband at the time of her disappearance and had a teenage daughter. Her case remains unsolved and foul play is suspected. If you have any information regarding Catherine's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477, or text SA TIPS to CRIMES, which is 274-637, or you can go to www.pd.salina.org, follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip, or call KBI at 785-296-4017, or 1-800-572-7463, and see if we can't help get Catherine located and back to where she needs to be. I mean, like you're saying, the picture on the left there, backing out the door after she got her newspaper and coffee, and, basically unbeknownst to her heading out to her demise.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. You never know
Yeah.
you never know it's your time.
The other picture was one of her when she was somewhat younger. I think maybe a graduation picture or something. Maybe I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but you know, sad deal. That one I remember more because, like I said, it was 1993. I was working at the truck stop out on the north end of town, and we'd gotten a lot of rain that year, and I just think that hampered investigation efforts because we got a lot of rain, a lot of flooding. So I think that washed away a lot of potential stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a bad deal. I do remember around that time that she went missing. They started recirculating the composite drawing for the I-70, I-35 serial killer, and they gave us one of the copies of it out at the truck stop, and um, I don't know if they were thinking maybe he was responsible or not. It didn't fit his MO in the least, as far as where, attacking her at 4:30 in the morning at a storage facility or whatever. But because he was hitting strip malls and shooting them in the stores, so I mean, so I don't know, but I remember that was just a really weird time here in town.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Crazy, man. Well, here we go. We have another case here. Looks like we're back in Topeka.
Yes, Isaac Schaefer comments on his flyer gets interesting because he himself comments on his flyer, wanting it to be taken down, wanting to be left alone, that kind of thing. Trying to explain to him that until he's located and back where he needs to be, flyer's going to stay up, and he doesn't like that. I don't believe. But he's missing from Topeka, Kansas. It's May 31st of last year. He's 17, soon to be 18, 5'10", 150 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, does wear eyeglasses. And if you have any information regarding Isaac's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Topeka, Kansas Police Department at 785-368-9200 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get him located and back to where he needs to be. I think he's under the impression that once he turns 18, he's done with, being in foster care. But, as long as he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing and he's not where he's supposed to be at, they can keep him there until he's 21. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't want, if Isaac's out there listening, I don't want you to think Ricky's saying that as a threat. He's saying, hey, do it right and you're almost done.
Right.
If you keep messing with him, Ricky's saying they're gonna continue to maybe keep you somewhere you don't want to be for an extended period of time. If you can see this, Isaac, Ricky's right. You are
Mhm.
close to being 18, but you need to go finish it strong. Finish it. Obviously, if anything weird's happening and you need help, you call the police. You call this show. We'll get people on their way to help you. But you're close to being 18. Fall in line a little bit, and Ricky's right. You're almost done. You're almost
Mhm.
done. You can kind of do
Right.
it your own way. But even then, once you're out in the open and you're in the free, make good decisions, buddy. Trust me. Just try to make good decisions.
Right.
Trust me. Just try to do it right every time. That's what I tell myself if I was younger. Here you go, Rick.
Okay. Here's Ellen Dawson says, hello from Leavenworth. Glad to see you're all back up and going. Hey, Ellen, how you doing? Glad to see you here. And here's one more. My younger kid. How you doing, Mo? All right. This is Caden Kukin. He's another one here that's I've done flyers for him in the past, and this is a new one. Missing from Wichita, Kansas since April 8th. He's 16, 5'8", 140 pounds. Has brown hair and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Caden's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9456 or 316-660-9452 or 316-263-6011 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Caden located and back to where he needs to be. I can tell you the picture, he looks like he's a little mad.
Right.
Yeah.
I be getting mad all the time. I get it.
Yeah.
All right. Got one more here.
All right. This is Xenia Iveth Favela, missing from Liberal, Kansas since April 7th, 2024. She's 37. She is 5'1", 140 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She was last heard from by phone on April 7th at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She may use the name Xenia Iveth Garcia Fabella. Again, she's 37, 5'1", weighs 140 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She has a tattoo of a rose on her left forearm, a tattoo of a rose with a butterfly on her right forearm, a tattoo of the name Azil on her right arm, and a tattoo of the name Alexia on her neck. If you have any information regarding Xenia's disappearance, or you know her whereabouts, please call Corporal Espinoza with the Liberal, Kansas Police Department at 620-626-0141 or the crime hotline at 620-624-4000 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Xenia located and back to where she needs to be safely, hopefully. Casey Aguilar is down there saying, "What's up?"
That's a buddy of mine. He works with Back Home Media here in
Okay.
He hangs out here at the cottage,
Let's see.
where we operate out of.
Yeah. And we got Shayna Holstead saying Wichita's a rough place for a teen to be out there. I agree with that. I don't live there, but I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm 41. Wichita's a rough place for me, and that's not disparaging Wichita. I'm just saying any place that's a big place like would stress me out by myself without like someone to help me out, make sure I have money. That's stressful. Like I'd being a kid, I'd being like out on it's stressful for me.
He's saying this may be a domestic case. Are you referring to Xenia, Casey?
He might be. I'm not sure.
He said, "Kind of my thoughts." Okay. I don't know. I haven't heard much more than that. I mean, I saw the Liberal Police Department had a post up about it, and went ahead and made a flyer and put it up. Was wanting to try to help get her located safely, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, Casey, he definitely knows a lot about this area. Liberal's only 60 minutes from here in Elkhart. So
wow.
Who knows? Maybe he knows something we don't know. Here we go. Here's another case for us. Let's talk about Harley Smith here.
Yes, another one I just did today, and I've done flyers for her in the past. Missing from Wichita, Kansas since April 17th today. 15 years old, 4'11", 105 pounds, blonde or strawberry hair, green eyes. She may be using the name Alex. Again, she's 15, 4'11", 105 pounds, blonde or strawberry hair, and green eyes. If you have any information regarding Harley's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-660-9452 or 316-660-9456 or 316-263-6011 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get Harley located and back to where she needs to be.
A lot of youngsters.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right. This is Trinity Copeland. I did hers and her boyfriend Dylan Willard. They're both missing out of Hutchinson, Kansas. She's been missing since April 12th, 2024. She's 19, 5'9", 110 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. She is with her boyfriend Dylan Willard. They were last seen in Independence, Missouri on Friday evening, April 12th, around 5 p.m. Authorities have verified that they are together. Family believes that she may be with him, not that he has caused her any harm. Trinity called her mom from McDonald's in Kansas City Friday, April 12th, and said she was in trouble and has not been heard from since then. And she's 19 years old, 5'9", and weighs 110 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. She has the name Dylan tattooed on the left side of her neck. Dylan may or may not have dreadlocks. It's been reported that he may have cut them. He does have a Playboy bunny tattoo on his neck. If you have any information regarding Trinity's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Hutchinson, Kansas Police Department at 620-694-2800 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Trinity located and back to where she needs to be. And if you want to pop up Dylan Willard's.
Okay, I want to see if I put them next to each other. Is that him?
All right. Again, he's missing from Hutchinson, Kansas. His missing date was since April 8th of 2024, so a little bit different. But he's 23, 5'10", 182 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. It's believed he's with Trinity, who's also considered to be missing. There was a possible sighting of Dylan and Trinity on Independence Avenue, Kansas City. He's 23, 5'10", 182 pounds, has black hair that was last known to be in dreads, but reportedly has been cut, and brown eyes. He does have multiple tattoos, including the Playboy bunny on his neck. Again, and like I said, with her flyer, it said, she called her mom, said, "Hey, I'm in trouble. I hadn't been heard or seen from since." He hasn't been heard or seen since. So if anybody has any information regarding Dylan's disappearance or his whereabouts, again, excuse me, again, call the Hutchinson, Kansas Police Department at 620-694-2800 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Dylan located and Trinity located and make sure they're safe and sound.
Wow.
And Casey says, Wichita is just rough, let's be honest. And then he says, yes, the liberal girl, no one just goes missing. She had to be with someone she trusted. Yeah, possible. And like I said, I haven't heard anything along those lines, just what I have on the flyer. And that's all liberal PD has put out. So if somebody could shed some light on it for us, that would be great. But
interesting theory, Casey. I like how you're thinking, man. Thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
We need those kind of comments. They'll get us all thinking, because who knows, man. Here we go. We got another case here, youngster out of Lawrence.
Yeah, Kylas Coe out of Lawrence, missing since March 22nd of this year. He's 17, 5'6", 150 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. Does wear glasses. If you have any information regarding Kylas's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Lawrence, Kansas Police Department at 785-832-7509, or you can call KBI 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Kylas located and back to where he needs to be. Hopefully he's all right, and but he needs to just get back there and get back in there and just take care of business the right way. I mean, you're almost 18, do it the right way. Get yourself graduated and move on.
Yeah. Do what you got to do, but again, try to make some good choices. You'll thank yourself in the future. Your 40-year-old version of yourself will be like, "Thank you,
right?
Thank you for avoiding some headache." Let's talk about our buddy Kenny right here.
Yeah, all right. I want to check on something real fast. I haven't had a chance to update anything on his flyer, but I want to see real fast if I need to update an age now, real quick. Won't take me but 2 shakes here. Well, I keep hitting the caps lock. Nope, he would still be 73 if he was still, if we can find him, which I hope we can. It's just crazy. He's missing from here in Salina since November 4th of 2019. He was 69 when he was missing. He'd still be 73. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair, blue eyes. Sometimes he does use the last name Brown instead of his given last name Rychek. He does suffer from diminished mental health capabilities, and he is on disability. He has not tried to access any of his money since he was last seen. He may have family in northwest Kansas, possibly around the Colby area. My understanding is he had 2 payees that he would go to for money. And my understanding is they weren't real good about making sure he had, pocket money with him and stuff like that. So he would ride around Salina on his bicycle and pick up scrap metal here and there and take it over to Salina Iron and Metal over on North 5th, which is now called All Metal Recycling. And he would sell scrap for cash, so he'd have some pocket money that way. And my understanding is one of the payees has since passed away, so I don't know. But anyway, Kenny was last seen at the Gospel Mission in Salina. He left there and hasn't been seen or heard from since that time. He doesn't have a cell phone, a vehicle. His mode of transportation was his bicycle, like I said, or any identification. And there's some controversy around the bicycle. Some say when he was evicted from his apartment over on Elm Street, they saw the bike there. Somebody had said that it was stolen and replaced by the bike that was seen at the house on Elm Street there. So I'm not real sure on that one. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 69. He's now 73. He's 5'9", 175 pounds, gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Kenny's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210 or Crime Stoppers at 785-825-8477 or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274637, or visit www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way. Or you can call KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Kenny located and make sure he's safe and sound. The only other information I really have is, like I said, he was evicted from his apartment on Elm Street. The police department took him out to the Gospel Mission out on the southwest part of town. He had been staying there for a bit and was having issues with another resident there and decided he was leaving, and that was the last anybody seen of him.
Yeah.
And Heather's saying I thought he was found a while back, or have you done a missing flyer on him before? Nope, this is still the same flyer. He's still listed missing on KBI. The only other thing we got going on here in town, they did find that partial skull out Magnolia Road, close to Centennial, out there in that creek bed, but they were never able to positively identify it. They said they couldn't extract enough DNA for a full DNA profile. So as of now, it's still unidentified. My first thought when that partial skull was found, of course, was Catherine Adam, because it was literally found about a block east of where she went missing from. And of course, Kenny was my second thought, because the Gospel Mission is about probably a mile or so just, further south down Centennial Road. So those are my first two immediate thoughts. But like I said, again, they haven't been able to identify it because they said they couldn't extract enough DNA. They said it was just a partial skull. So I don't know if that means from like here up or what. I mean, they never did say. So.
And it kind of ended with that first initial press release. I never heard anything else about it after that, except for like YouTubers and stuff trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah. The thing that frustrates me, I'm pro law enforcement. I really am. But the thing frustrates me here in town is very, very, very rarely does the police department ever come out with posts on their Facebook say, hey, we're still seeking information in this case or that case on any of these. Very, very rarely. The only one in recent memory that they really pushed was Haley Davis, and I need to get her back up and running on the show again too, because she's still missing from here in town and has been since it was August of last year, I believe it was, or June of last year, or something like that.
Yeah,
but she hasn't been found, and there's a lot of rumor going on around about her too. Which, of course, me, I don't deal in rumor or anything, but the rumors I'm hearing are not good rumors. So
yeah.
Hopefully she's out there safe. And actually, it was interesting for a while because like I said, she'd been missing since like either June or August of last year, and then all of a sudden, late last year, is either November, December, she pops up on the most wanted. I'm like, why are they putting her on the most wanted if she's a missing person? So I got emailed the detective about it, and he said, I don't know why she's on there. She shouldn't be. And he got a hold of the sheriff's department. And initially, they kept her on the most wanted, like I think it was like from December through March, and they finally pulled her off for April, because I looked at April's most wanted and she's no longer there. So they did remove her from that. And I thought, how can you put her as a most wanted when she's in there as a missing person? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It kind of made me scratch my head a little bit.
Well, we got 3 more flyers. These are ones we've covered for a very long time. So if we could pay some extra attention, everybody watching. These are flyers that we have covered pretty much weekly for multiple years, and we're trying to, obviously help the state get some closure. Ricky's going to tell you about this one right here.
All right. This is Dana Jane Bruce, missing from Sedalia, Missouri, since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing, and I need to see if I need to update that to 39 yet, or if she still would be 38. She was 5'2", 98 pounds, brown hair, greener hazel eyes. She was last seen at her babysitter's home, children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight and gave the babysitter more money and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man that Dana was with that night. He traveled to Atlanta after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her again after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. As of this flyer, she would now be 38. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds, has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots and black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel in silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. Dana has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. Dana has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Her ears are pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department. It's 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or toll free at 866-362-6422. And we will see if we can't help get Dana located and back to where she needs to be.
Have you heard anything new on Alexander's, the arrests made and this and all that, or?
I have not. Let me just do a quick Google here and see if there is anything going on
I
here.
heard anything new, but
Let's see. Yeah, oops. It's supposed to be 2 words. Let's see if there's anything good going on. Let's see. Man arrested in murder. Search warrant served in Garden City for missing man. That was in June of 23. Doesn't look like anything new. It's all dated middle of the year last year. I want to kind of check out the one that says search warrant served. See what that is to say, because I don't think I've read that one. Serving a search.
Go ahead.
It says they were serving a search warrant at 600 Telegram in Garden City in connection with the disappearance of AJ Perez.
Was that before or after the arrest?
Let's see, this was June 14th. This is when the article was published for 2023. The arrest was made in December of 2023, so that was way before the arrest. So, So yeah, that's a little bit older. That was before the arrest. That may have been what helped lead up to the arrest. I don't know, but doesn't look like anything new. At least not reported anyway. I have to kind of keep an eye open.
Yeah.
It's nice to see his flyer's been used so many different places. Grant County Sheriff's Office used it. Ulysses News used it. That's cool. That's why I make them for, is to get them out there.
Yeah, man.
Any news on Alyssa Johnson? I have not seen anything yet. Kelly's asking if we can do Megan Fogel song too. No, we haven't done her yet. We need to do her again. Should we do her tonight or do her on the next show?
Let's do the next one.
Okay.
But we can add her to the repertoire of ones that we cover often, because those are. Now, did you read Alexander's flyer?
Not yet. But I will.
Okay. I was gonna say, okay, yeah, go ahead and read it, because I don't think you had read it, but go ahead.
Yeah, this is Alexander AJ Perez, missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st of 2020. He's 35 when he went missing. As of this flyer, he would be 38. I'll have to check on that one and see if I need to update that. He's 5'11", 235 pounds. I know I say that week after week. It's just I keep so busy It's a little hard to keep them up sometimes, but I will get it. Trust me. He has black hair that he nearly shaves bald and brown eyes. He had called a family member on the phone on December 1st, said he'd be coming over to do some laundry. He never arrived at the family member's home in Ulysses, and he has not been heard from or seen since by family or friends since that date. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. It's believed that he may still be in the local Ulysses area, or he may be in the Garden City, Kansas, or surrounding area. At the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 38. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds, has black hair that he shaves nearly bald and brown eyes, has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye, has Perez tattooed on one of his arms, and he has a tattoo of a cross on a chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get him located and back to where he needs to be. It's too bad we don't have that audio, that last message he sent.
I have it somewhere. I can get it ready for next week. It is somewhere on a hard drive, but I do have that somewhere.
And I'm going to read real quick. This is the KBI release on the arrest that they made in Alex's case. It's Finney County KBI and the Finney County Sheriff's Office arrested a man connected to the murder of A.J. Perez of Ulysses. Family members reported A.J. missing to the Ulysses Police Department on December 14th, 2020. At the time he went missing, Perez was 35. On January 12, 2021, Grant County Sheriff's Office requested KBI assistance after a foul play was suspected in his disappearance. Authorities believe Perez was killed on or around December 6, 2020 in Finney County. On Wednesday, December 27th, around 1:45 p.m., Oscar Corrales, 44, of Garden City, was arrested on a warrant for second-degree murder connected to the death of A.J. Perez. He was also arrested for racketeering, possession of meth with intent to distribute, possession of drug paraphernalia, and theft. The additional charges were based on an investigation by the Garden City Police Department and the Finney County Sheriff's Office. Corrales was arrested at the Finney County Jail where he is being held on unrelated charges. And all suspects are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Finney County Attorney's Office is expected to prosecute the case. The investigation is ongoing. Nothing further can be released at this time. And that was a KBI press release that came out December 27th of 2023.
Yeah. I have not heard a word from even his family. I mean, they're the ones that told me that the arrest was happening, and I saw that it was official, but I have not heard any updates.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if the person they think is responsible for something is incarcerated, sure, it'd be nice to know what's going on. But at least if that person did something to AJ, maybe they're incarcerated and they're not going to hurt anybody else. I don't know. Try to find a silver lining. This will be our last case for the night before we get out of here. But as you can see, because of red box, that usually means there is a reward of some type. This one happens to be a governor's reward. Ricky's going to tell you all about Dietrich.
Yeah, he's been missing since Independence, Kansas, since April 12, 2020. He's 37 at the time of his disappearance, and as of this flyer, he was 41. I need to look for an update there. He's 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was reported missing May 12th. He was last seen around April 12th, both in 2020. In Independence, KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting Foster's case as a homicide based upon the findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. At the time of his disappearance, Dietrich was 37. He's now 41, at least as of this flyer. He's 5'9", weighs 190 pounds, has black hair and brown eyes. He has a scar on his chest from heart surgery and a scar on his right side of his nose. He has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner, I hope I said that right, on his arm, and the word foo on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich Foster's disappearance or you know his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. Yeah, the 12th of this month was actually the 4-year anniversary of his disappearance. So let's get some information called in. If anybody has anything, no matter how small, please call it in. And there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So,
Yep.
like Derek says, there's 5,000 reasons right there to pick up the phone and make that call. I mean, it's sad that we have to do that, but I mean, they should just want to call it in because it's the right thing to do. You know.
But we're going on. We're at year 4 now.
It's
4 years. If money's your motivator, call the number, get your money.
Yeah.
Really, just it'd be nice for Dietrich's family to be able to take a deep breath for the first time in 4 years. So if anybody has the information, just go ahead and.
I know you've been talking to a family member of his, and she's quite irritated that there hasn't been more. There hasn't been a resolution.
And I'll be the first to admit, I've been so swamped with Elkhart stuff that I have not been able to talk to her as much as possible. But I'm going to make it a point to reach out to her between today and our next show and see if I can get some kind of update. Because you're right, there has been. It seems like there's a lot going on in comment sections around Dietrich's case, like on social media. So I might check in with them and see what they say. But that's going to be the show for us, guys. Backhomemedia.com to follow us. If you're not already, go to Facebook and go to Kansas Missing and Unsolved. Follow the page. Follow Ricky and his mission. Share all the flyers that you see. Share them in groups. Tell friends about it. 87,000 followers right now. I have access to Ricky's numbers. He reaches about 1 million people. His flyers reach about 1 million people's phones about every 90 days. So this man over here is doing God's work. Please make sure you're following his page. And Ricky, you have anything you want to say before you get us out of here, buddy?
I was gonna real quick. Kelly's got a comment. Says, "Have a great night, guys. Can't wait for the next one. Love you all so much. Let's get some of these people back home where they're supposed to be." Definitely for that. Definitely. But yeah, it's like I said, it's coming up on 12 years that Kansas Missing and Unsolved's been around, and it's just been an amazing ride. I say all the time, that God leads this ship. I'm just the fingers on the keyboard. And that's how I feel about it. He guides it. I'm just the fingers on the keyboard.
100%. Well, what day we're doing a show next week?
I believe I'm off on Monday next week. Let me double check that real quick here, but I think it's Monday night. I don't know why they keep messing my schedule so much.
If you have any missing flyers you want us to cover on Monday's show, or any unsolved crimes you want us to talk about on Monday's show, feel free to reach out to the Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page. You can also reach out to me, Derek Evan Relaford, on Facebook. I have the blue check mark. There's a couple of imposter chubby guys pretending to be me. But
you do.
There are a couple of imposters there. But that is going to be our show, everybody. Please make sure you're following the pages, share the flyers, and we will be back next week with more cases.
Yeah,